Good morning.
Good morning. Today is May 28th, and this is Memorial Day weekend, 2023. And our talk this morning is Take the T off the can't, off the cannot,
Right, changing can't to can.
to can, yes.
We want to
We
can
know
the
we
tea.
can,
We want to can the tea.
indeed. So let's open with an opening affirmative prayer. So join me if you would, and as you're joining, would you please mute yourself? So that we don't have any noise in the recording. So let's go within and give thanks this morning. We give thanks that we are a part of all the power and presence and love in the universe. We call that source God. We are so grateful to be a part of it. We know it is for us and never against us, and can give to us all that we can actively receive. So we choose today to accept all the good that is ours, and give thanks that the source of all life is also the source of plenty. We know that we ourselves are the only limitation to what we receive. So we give thanks for our good. We give thanks for the flow into our lives. We give thanks particularly for knowing this teaching and knowing that it is a power for good in the universe that we can use. So we release, we say thank you, and together we say,
And so it
and
is.
so it is.
Well
All
done.
right, okay. So, can't. Take the T off the can't. Is
Right.
there anything you want to say about that
Not a
before I
word.
get
No,
on a
no,
roll?
no, not a word. Just have at it.
Well, I'm going to start then with a quote from our founder
Ernest
because
Holmes, which I found.
Ernest Holmes, it's so
Yeah.
powerful.
So,
I don't think you did find this one. Anyway, he says, in transforming energy into power, we are uniting an invisible essence, and that's with a capital E, with an invisible law, which is the way the universe operates. If we identify ourselves with the source, then our word establishes eternal harmony, transforms everything, rearranges everything to our benefit. It is an act of complete surrender of the human to the divine without the loss of the human, a complete inflowing of the divine into the human. That's by Ernest Holmes from Creative Living, a book he wrote. And this is what we believe, and this is why we believe that we can turn the can't into can. Because we don't have to know how. We don't have to know how. We don't have to know. You don't ask any of the questions how, when, where, any of that, just the what. Because the way that it manifests is according to, it's like a law of attraction for all the circumstances that are needed for your what to come forth. So our job is to not doubt. Our job is to know that this is occurring. We don't have to know how, we don't have to know when, we don't have to know where. As a matter of fact, we stay away from all those questionings because that would be outlining. That would be telling the universe or God or whatever you call this magnificent creative force how to do its business. And that's really none of our business. Our business is to know the what.
we often go to a great deal of effort to make God small and manageable. And if we have a manageable, small-sized God that we can fit in our pocket, we don't have to worry about this big thing that's bigger than we can explain, and bigger than we can understand. But then we ask this God, after we make it small and nearly invisible, to do great and wonderful things. And there's a contradiction in that. So I think we have to allow this, I call it divine intelligence. We need to allow our minds to wrap around this idea of a divine intelligence operating in and through everything, and that we're connected to that everything. Now that changes everything when you see that, because you realize that everything that you're doing is having an impact on everything around you. That this is an intimate dance that we're doing in the universe with everything. And so knowing that, then it's very fluid. And so backing into getting rid of the T and the can't is that suddenly when all things are possible and everything is in motion and everything is in a process, we can enter into that process creatively and openly and say, wow, what would I like to see now? How would I like my life to unfold now? And,
With expectation.
yes,
Not with an attitude, well, that'll never happen for me,
Right.
or I don't know how that could ever happen. So it's with an expectation. I don't have to know how. I just need to know the what.
in a Tom Cruise movie we just recently watched again, which is really Thunder, something Days of Thunder or something like that. I think it was. He's a race car driver, and he doesn't know anything about cars, but he's a fantastic race car driver. And I think symbolically that's really interesting. Many of us don't know about spirit, but it's nevertheless there all the time, constantly, and in our life. So he's driving this course, and it's really, really dangerous. And Robert Duvall, who his coach, tells him, "Don't worry, you can pass on the inside." He says, "You never do that." He said, "Oh, you can do this because we've got special tires in your car. Special tires. These are tires that no one else has." And Tom Cruise says, "Oh, okay, I can do this," and he does. And he gets done. He says, "Wow, I wouldn't have won that race without the special tires." And then, of course, Robert Duvall says, "Well, actually, there was nothing different about them. I just needed you to believe." And often believing something allows us to stretch further into the possibilities of how we could express ourselves to have what we're believing in be real in our lives. And so I think there's nothing accomplished by half measure. We have to literally put our foot to the floor and say yes. And in the movie, of course, he's saying yes as he's going through a cloud of smoke and dust and dirt, and he doesn't sure what's going to happen, but he has to know that on the other side of all of that, there is freedom, and there is for him an opportunity to win. And so what I think we do very often is we put the brakes on and say, why can't I go faster? We put the brakes on with, that shouldn't work, that won't work, this is not possible. I read an article that said it wasn't good. And we assemble all the information to make what we want to have small, and then say, why don't I get a big result?
Yes, and often we tend, if we don't get what we're praying for, what we want, we often will go back to our childhood way of thinking, which is similar to Santa Claus. We
Give
kind
it
of
to
we
me.
kind of made Santa Claus after our idea of God at that time, which is it's a man in the sky with a big long beard that watches everything we do, and will not give us what we don't deserve. So we have a tendency to think that, well, if what I want is not happening, I must not be good enough. I must be doing something wrong. But one idea I'd like you to consider is that maybe you have to come true to your dream first. Your dream is waiting for you to come true. In other words, you may not have developed all the abilities you need for that. You may need some education. May need some experience. You may need some maturing. And if you understand that, you just go, well, not yet. I know it's happening, but maybe not yet. And so you develop yourself and your own consciousness, your own faith, your own talents and abilities.
Sure.
Because some of the things that you want require you to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good. That's a good thing.
Years ago, I was able to get a job that I wasn't prepared for or skilled enough to be able to manage, but I got the job. And as soon as I got the job, I realized I didn't know anywhere near what I needed to know, and I didn't stay in the job very long because it was embarrassing to find out how little I knew. We often don't realize how much we need to learn when we put ourselves on a path, on a particular path. Mm-hmm. What we need to learn when we're on that path doesn't mean that we're not qualified to be on the path. It means we have to say yes to being willing to learn more, experience more, expand more. I find for myself sometimes I'd like to be able to have an absolutely amazing event occur in my life, but I don't want to have to deal with any kind of change. Right? Because I want everything to stay the same. So we contradict our own intention without meaning to.
And we get into fear. So Ernest Holmes talked a lot about going from fear to faith.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do in those circumstances. We have to say, I don't know how it's going to happen. And we certainly don't know when, where, and all of those. But if we can just convert our fear that we don't have enough, or we won't achieve what we want, or we won't, we have all kinds of fears. Fears of staying alive, as if you could die, because what we know is true is you continue on after this birth and this passing. So what Ernest says is, what would happen if we could convert the energy of fear to faith, the energy of doubt and uncertainty into a feeling of belonging to the universe and being safe in it?
Well,
Feels good
Yeah.
just to say it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
We belong to the universe and feeling safe in that universe, and knowing that what we want, what we're praying for, may not come true this second, but live as if it's all good. It's all good. Where I am right now is good, and it's developing, and I'm exactly where I need to be when I need to be there. And I know what I need to know at every moment.
Yeah, if you can't accept that you are where you need to be right now, then you're not going to get the proper footing you need to be able to move. So being where you are right now, is wherever that is fine, and needs to be fine for you, so you can say, this is my perfect and right place to be now. Now what's next? What do I need to do? What I find happening is when people will call me and say, I don't like where I am, this is not what I should be doing, this is not right, nothing's right. Well, where can you get a footing? And basically what they've done, they've indicted themselves out of this life without meaning to. And if you're living in that kind of a personal indictment, nothing ever goes well for me, things are always breaking, everybody's always left me. When that story is the life that you're living in, you don't have the kind of footing or the kind of grounding that you have when you know that life is for you, not against you. I'm reminded of, and this has happened hopefully for everybody, that at some point in your life you fall in love. And the person in your life that looks you in the eye and opens their heart and says, I love you. And those are just words. I love you, the 3 words. But when that opens a consciousness, and when you accept that that's actually real, your entire life changes. We have a relative, it's been interesting to me that she just got sick. And I think she got COVID and has gotten over it, and she's had some other struggles too with allergies and all of that. The most striking thing is that when she was married and her husband was alive, and that's a passing, she didn't get sick once in 3 years.
6 years.
6 years, sorry. Didn't get sick once in 6 years, which is just interesting. And her husband, who was quite sick and eventually passed on, Judith's son, he went through all kinds of struggles. She was always there with a footing, always there, strong and able and ready. She had a
In
purpose.
caregiving.
She had a
Taking care
purpose,
of
yeah. When your purpose is to love, when you give yourself permission to be a person who loves, and when you get to love the life that you're living, it is hard to have it go wrong. When you've decided that there is no love and that you don't deserve to be here and that life is not good, how would you get a footing for you to be able to have it be good?
Exactly. Yeah, she calls it Michael's secret sauce.
Yeah.
But it was just her own happiness. She
Yeah.
was happy and in love, and so she never got sick.
So if you can be in love with anything, you can be in love with everything. If you can be in love with anything, you can expand that. You can borrow the experience. You can transfer that experience. You can allow that to well and to grow. I watch a lot of YouTube short videos, and they're fun. With the baboon or the monkey hugging and loving the person, or the elephants running toward the person that missed him, or the lion jumping on the person who he hasn't seen in 2 years. What happens in your heart is what you want to see more of. Whatever it takes to open that space in you. Now, what I would do is I would watch that, and then I would say, and that's my world. And my world includes lots of love. My world includes all creatures, large and small, loving me, and I'm loving them. And so if you can take just a kernel of love that you feel or experience and allow that to be expanded, or transfer that and say, I can have this love in other areas of my life. You can love a squirrel that you've never met and don't even know don't even know the name of. Or you can simply say, I don't know what that is, and walk
And the
away.
communication that occurs. Every once in a while he finds a really great reel, these are called. Said, "Oh, Judith, you have to see this." It was so cute. It was in a zoo, and a woman was standing there holding her newborn baby in her arms in a blanket. And this male gorilla runs over, grabs an infant gorilla that's no doubt his, and brings it over and holds him up by his arms to show her, see, I have one too. I have a baby too. It was so cute.
Yeah, and the joy that that brings to you, if you could allow yourself to get rid of all of the things I can't do, what I can do, how can I smile? And what happens when I smile? What happens when I laugh, and why aren't I laughing? We need to be able to have some laugh breaks, some smile breaks. And if that means watching TV or watching a video or laughing with somebody or whatever that takes, or walking out in nature, find something that makes you smile this week, ear to ear. Find something that makes you feel good inside. Find something that brings tears to your eyes, and you don't mind admitting that it's not allergies. And, but if you could do that every day, you're waking up the love center, the connector to all of this universe.
So I want to talk about something that Ernest Holmes, our founder, said before he died in 1960. I don't know when he said it, but he said that, and at the time we were called religious science. He said, religious science will be the religion of the 21st century, regardless of what they call it. So I'm always amazed when I see infiltrating into our whole culture the beliefs and teachings that when I started in 1974, most people did not believe. So I saw an ad for Avis on TV. I couldn't believe it. It said, don't wish, don't want, know. And this is Avis's motto. Mm-hmm. And they say this is how they've always operated, by knowing. I don't know what they know, knowing to be the best or whatever. But don't wish, don't hope, know. And that's how you take the T out of can't. Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have to know how, when, or where. You just know the what.
Yeah.
That's your job. Decide what you want to experience. And then the law of attraction can come to work to bring in all the people, circumstances, opportunities that you need to experience that. One of the most frustrating things for me has often been the when. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as I want it then.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And yet if I'm patient and keep doing my best, it usually shows up down the road. And it shows up in a way that I'm ready for. But I usually am not ready for it when I think I want it.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm trying to clear my voice. So, a lot of the things we want seem to be impossible. Mm-hmm. And of course you don't want to expect something that is impossible. So let's make it improbable at the moment. But miracles occur when you do this. Miracles in healing, miracles in circumstances, things that you couldn't, better than you could possibly imagine happening.
Yeah, we want to stop trying to do an end run on miracles, where we try to figure it out or explain it before it happens, and actually then diffuse it or decompose it, deconstruct it. The composition of a miracle is something that's reasonable, that makes perfect sense, that I can't understand. It's beyond my reach. It doesn't mean it can't happen. That's why I often go back to, and I try not to refer to every single week, the hell I can't.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
He's going to be so grateful to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if something really wonderful happened. That is so much richer than, well, I just don't see how it could happen.
Yeah, that's a pronouncement that it can't
happen. I've heard it 1,000 times. Well, sure, go ahead and try, but I don't see how that could possibly work. Well, I'm excited. I can hardly wait to walk into this desert.
Okay, so we have to give credit where credit's due. And that's from the book, The Hell I Can't. And we'll know his name in just a minute. Terry McBride.
Terry McBride, yeah.
Terry McBride.
We need to think of Terry Cloth and then Terry McBride, yeah. If you haven't read the book, you have to read at least one. So
he was impossibly ill.
Yeah, but the magic in that, that every week that I want to go back and play on it and use it is that to allow there to be a mystery that doesn't get in the way of the outcome. Allow the
Exactly.
mystery of life to be so exciting and so wonderful that you can't wait to explore it, as opposed to, and I hear this, if I can't explain it, I can't believe it. I'm sorry. It's just not true.
And when you think of this
Yeah.
goal, you want to think of it with a feeling of
Expectancy.
anticipation and
Expectancy.
expectation,
Yeah.
a sense of excitement,
Yeah.
not a sense of, well, yeah, right, that's not likely to happen. You know, you are actually causing it not to happen when you do that.
Well, I know it's not in our teaching to refer to psychics and go to psychics and all of that, but I certainly have, and I value the abilities that people have that transcend the everyday that I'm experiencing. And so years ago, I went to a well-known psychic who apparently was just incredibly accurate on a regular basis. So I had a belief that whatever she told me was probably true, or it was true. So she said, "This week, you're going to meet your teacher." I thought, "Oh my God, that's incredible. That's wonderful." So I'm working in a hospital, and I'm walking down the corridor, and I thought, I wonder if my teacher could be the housekeeping staff person who's mopping the floor right now. So I stopped and we talked for a while. He was the most interesting person. I had never talked with him before, and I had no idea how interesting he was. But I thought he could be my teacher. Then I went to the cafeteria to get something to eat, and we had an ongoing battle because I used to order food for people that didn't exist so that the staff could eat. And they knew this, and they would come and try to catch us doing this. So we had this ongoing battle with Bob trying to get food free from the cafeteria that he doesn't deserve. And I walk in the cafeteria, and the person who's running it, who knows me well, says, "Bob?" I said, "Yes." She said, "We've got some cherry pie. Would you like a piece?" I said, "Free, or do I have to lie and say that I'm somebody else?" She said, "No, no, it's free. It's for you." I thought, she's my teacher today. She's my nourishment teacher. And so it went on and went on and went on and went on. And then I went to my supervisor, and he was incredible. I thought, maybe he's my teacher. At the end of the day, it was a Friday. Everybody's leaving the day treatment program where I'm working. And a young client of mine walked up and she said, "I won't be back on Monday." And I said, "Why not?" She said, "I'm going to kill myself this weekend." I said, "Great." What I actually said to myself was, "Great, on a Friday afternoon, I got to deal with this." Not that her life was important, but that I had to deal with this problem on a Friday afternoon when I wanted
Which
to go
might
home,
take a long time.
which could take a long time. I gave her my best answer because it was a quick one and I could get the heck home. And she said, "No, that's not going to work." I dug a little deeper. I dug a lot deeper. By the time I got done digging, we had both figured out some things we didn't know about life and about death and about suicide and about everything. And I thought, she's my teacher. My goodness, that's hard to believe. Anyway, the following week I went back to see the psychic and I said, "I had the most extraordinary week." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you said I was going to meet my teacher. I don't know if my teacher was the housekeeping person or the client that said she was going to kill herself." She said, "Oh, no, I meant that metaphorically." "You meant that metaphorically?" She said, "Yes, everybody's your teacher." What if I pursued life like everything is a teaching? Everyone is a teacher. Everyone is a gift. Everyone has a gift they want to give. And I can hardly wait for Christmas every day. As opposed to, I wonder how this day is going to turn out. I hope the traffic's not too bad. I hope the storm they're predicting isn't going to kill us, you know. And it just goes on and on. So we can replace fear or go from fear to faith. And the faith that all things are for us, not against us.
And you can use this, of course, for your own health, visualize and know and expect perfect health for yourself. You can know this for relationships. You can know it for being in the right job at the right time. Anything that you want, you really can create anything you want. You just need to be ready for it, and you need to expect it.
And with that, I think we're going to end this segment of our talk. But you had something you wanted to share.
I do. I just read it. It's so beautiful. I want to close it with like a closing meditation. And this is written by Dr. Baji Daniels, who is the regional practitioner representative of our region, of our organization, Center for Spiritual Living. So, if you'll just close your eyes and listen. No matter what else is happening in the world, In this moment now, I can still breathe. And as long as I have breath, I have the capacity to reset myself with a better thought feeling. Conscious breathing is the set point of my existence. Just by taking a slow, deep breath in and releasing it, even slower than the intake, I can decrease stress, lower blood pressure, and improve my immune system. And that's just for starters. Breathing increases energy, thus I can feel better. So let's breathe and return ourselves from unsettling outward stimuli to the source of real well-being and equilibrium. Let us align with the living Spirit Almighty that is inside each and every one of us. From that place of spiritual alignment, I can feel and know only oneness, kindness, joy, peacefulness, and love. Any discordant condition must dissolve under the divine power that is the power beyond any limiting physical illusion. Whatever is mine to do, I must do, for I accept that my eyes, ears, hands, and feet are God in action. Individually and collectively, we bring the kingdom of God to earth. I choose to see this as an exciting time to be alive, to be awake, and to be in service. So let us breathe and give thanks for the many glorious opportunities that are awaiting our yes. And so it is.
That's wonderful. I want to say a shout out to all the practitioners of our teaching. You're the backbone of what we do, and that was wonderful and beautiful.
Dr. Baji Daniels.
We're now going to go to our share screen and talk just briefly about how to support this ministry. And for those of you that want to support the teaching that we are involved in, what I would ask you to do is to get out your checkbook or get out your charge card or get out your phone and reach as deep as you can and say, can I support this ministry? And if I can, please do. And do this by saying to yourself, my investment today is made with the full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me enriched and multiplied.
And so it is. And we're also asking right
Yeah.
now, or perhaps we'll do it when we talk.
Yeah,
later.
yeah. So we're going to ask later. We're going to stop the share, and we're going to end our